I'm assuming the theme music might have just gone off if I had some.
Yep.
So, welcome to episode 2 of the Against Type podcast. May change the name. Don't know yet. So, anyway, today... Here, let me stop it for a minute. Okay, so welcome to episode 2 of the Against Type podcast. Leah Kate and I have been trying to get this done for a bit now, but just haven't found any time to do it. So...
It's a very pointed gaze.
No. I've been rearing to do it for a bit.
Yep. What are we talking about, Zach?
Today we are talking about the movies that sort of inspired us to...
Like movies.
Well, yes, like movies in the way that we do now, in the very pretentious and tasteful way that we do now. But yeah, basically, we just thought since this is going to be a podcast about movies, we thought we would just talk about, again, just like where was that transition from just watching movies to like really wanting to dive deep into
movies.
Yes, quote unquote watching movies.
Yes.
But just diving a little deeper into the movies and like how they're made, the themes in movies, Yes. Looking at it as more than just simple entertainment. But yeah. First, would you like to address the modern situation going on, just so we can date this podcast, make it really dated?
Really dated? Sure. I don't know what to say about it. We've gone back to work.
Oh, well, no, I was going to say, like, the whole COVID-19 thing.
COVID-19 crisis.
Yes, and...
is still here, but we're gonna live like it's not. I don't know.
Are you gonna tell this, are you, like, telling this to the future generation?
I don't know if we'll have podcasts then, so this whole platform might be like MySpace.
Nah.
Yeah. Anyway.
No, the only reason I wanted to bring it up is because we've been watching a lot more movies since it started. So
sure.
We have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, almost every night. So
yeah.
Yeah. Have you had any discoveries?
Well, I got the Criterion Channel subscription. So that's been interesting. There's a lot of stuff on there that's hard to find elsewhere. At least for the price, you get a lot of value out of a lot of good movies. So we've been watching some that have been on my list for a while.
What is the Criterion Channel for those who aren't like...
The Criterion Channel is from the Criterion Collection, which is kind of a film archive type thing. And they still release them, but when they came out, they were releasing like DVDs with commentary and other things like that, right?
I don't know.
I think that's what they do, like, because that's what they feature on the app. They feature like celebrities or directors or people like that commenting on the films,
mm-hmm.
and maybe other facts about the films. I don't really know, because you've watched a Criterion DVD. I never have.
Yeah, but it was just a DVD.
Yeah, you didn't watch any of the features?
Actually, we did, but...
Okay. I think that's all
it wasn't
is.
my choice.
They're also, I think they preserve things or, like, restore certain things.
That's what I was wondering, is, like, what qualifies as a movie that would go into the Criterion Collection?
It's I've said it's like the Library of Congress, that whole film archive. It's just, like, a culturally notable film. Like...
Usually,
classic or art house or things like that.
Lots of movies that no one ever watches.
Yeah. And then they have little like Charles Dickens movies for kids. But I've been watching their Saturday matinee section, which is kind of for kids a lot. So.
Yep.
The last entry on that was The Boy with the Green Hair, so it's a sliding scale of quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's been interesting.
Yes. We watched a lot on there.
Anyway, so yeah, lots of movie watching. But
why do we watch movies, Zach? Why do we watch so many movies?
I'm glad you asked, Leah Kate, because at some point in our young lives, we watched a movie that just blew our minds
Sparked our hearts. Yes.
And made us go, there's a lot more to this than we thought. So
I think Zach's was like 3 weeks gestation.
I don't know what that means, but let's just get into it. So what were your movies that inspired you to become a self-proclaimed critic?
I never proclaimed myself to be a critic.
Yeah, but you criticize a lot of movies. So.
Yeah, sure. So it was a confusing journey. It was kind of like I would look at Pinterest and I would see like at the very beginning, I would see like film stills. Like you would drill me on certain directors when I was younger. Like you wanted me to know that Peter Jackson directed Lord of the Rings and things like that. But those weren't like high tier films, I guess.
Yeah, they were.
Sure, yeah, they were. But I don't know, they're not like art house. So then I would just look at Pinterest, and when I got that when I was 11 or 12, and I guess at some point when I was 12 or 13, I started to see stills from like French new wave movies, and I was like, that looks interesting. So I watched like 2 of those, and then I was like, okay, and then I forgot all about it, and so I just went about my business. And then I would look at other things. Then I got into Audrey Hepburn movies because I wanted to watch old movies, and I was going to watch like Some Like It Hot with Marilyn Monroe, and then I was going to watch Breakfast at Tiffany's, but I never watched Some Like It Hot because I watched Breakfast at Tiffany's and I was like, who cares about Marilyn Monroe? And then, yeah, I watched all the Audrey Hepburn movies I could, and then, yeah, you can go into some of yours before I keep going.
I mean, I was going to let you finish, but I was just going to say that like that still feels like pre where we are now.
That was like
and I keep saying where we are now as if we've achieved some great enlightenment.
It's like our level of interest in the general community of people who like movies.
Yep.
But sure, I can finish. When I think what really sparked it was kind of like I've said, there was that weekend when I was sick and I watched a lot of movies, and that kind of started the ball rolling. Because I watched a lot of movies that weekend. I was sick. It was like the spring before I turned 15. I stayed home all weekend, even from church, and because I was real sick. And I watched Legally Blonde during math that day, which did not inspire anything. And then that night I watched A League of Their Own because I liked that movie. So that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with anything. But
it could.
Yeah, sure. It was just a movie that I really liked. And then the next day I watched Moonrise Kingdom, which was probably the most influential. Because I was like, this is really cool. I think that was another thing where I'd seen like stills of it and I just liked the look of it. I think the aesthetic element is what drew me to movies, which is a sure path to Wes Anderson. And then I watched What's Eating Gilbert Grape on Sunday while I caught up on some grammar. So after that I started to, I guess I discovered like all the film channels on YouTube that would talk more about movies, and that's where I kind of compiled the list that I've just now been hitting a lot of those that I discovered after finding those film channels. I've just now been watching the movies that I found on there on Criterion.
Wow, that was a big jump.
That was a big jump.
Okay, but you're you're a big Wes Anderson fan, right? So that's
For
sort
those
of
that are, I find, I don't know what the word is, redemptive enough? Like, I don't know. Well, some of them are really depraved. I'll just say that.
why did you immediately launch into like defending or being sorry for like
No, I just mean like he's not the most, like, it's not necessarily wise to watch everything he does. So I don't watch everything he does, but I like his style, and I watch what I can or what I think I should of his. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
you like his aesthetic
Yes.
and you like his sense of humor?
Yes.
Do you like the themes? What about the themes?
Themes. I think.
Or is that not a part of it?
Well, I like him because, especially like in Fantastic Mr. Fox and things like that, sometimes he can sort through like really weird dynamics, like through the bizarreness of it, because like life and family and people like that, it is really bizarre. And so I think when you incorporate that bizarreness into something, you can really reach some good points, some good takeaways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually need to go check on something real quick. So I'll either cut this or I'll let you speak
Okay.
for a bit while I'm gone.
No, you can just. You're gonna pause it.
No.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
So apparently there is thousands of pounds of pasta spilled over on the interstate near the airport. So there's an update for you.
These are trying times that we live in.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
Wes Anderson, heartwarming.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So my movie that really kind of launched my interest into all this was The Dark Knight. And that was mainly because, I mean, I don't know if it was because I wasn't allowed to watch it when it first came out, but once I finally was allowed to watch it, I mean, again, I don't know if it was because it was like this forbidden fruit kind of thing to where like once I watched it, I'm like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. But once I did see it, it was like my favorite movie, and it was for years. So, and then that led to, and it was mainly just because it was really cool, and like really, it just seemed really cool and gritty and like all this stuff. But once I actually started like reading more into it, like reading about it on Wikipedia, because I used to do a lot of Wikipedia deep dives on things, just spending hours reading Wikipedia articles about things that I liked, but that's another thing. Anyway, I was just reading about Christopher Nolan and his ideas for like the Dark Knight trilogy in general, and sort of the themes that he wanted to explore in them. Like, I think that's what sort of like caught my interest about those movies, and like him as a director was it was really the first time that I had ever seen someone, I guess, like put that much thought. I had seen like that much thought and care and like, I guess, something a little deeper into the movie.
You
like
definitely can't say Christopher Nolan doesn't take movies very seriously.
Yes, and that was
in every way.
Yeah, he always chooses like a certain idea and like latches on to that and says, how can we explore this and how can we explore this, work this in as many ways as we can, and like, you know, so like in Batman Begins, the whole theme of that movie is fear, and it works its way in through like, you know, the whole idea of Gotham City is gripped by fear of like the criminals and the, you know, the mob and like all this stuff, like all the crime, and Bruce Wayne is attempting to use fear and turn it back onto, he uses fear to fight crime, to like to turn it back onto the criminals. And the villain Scarecrow, his main weapon is fear gas, which just causes like this, you know, insane amount of fear in people. So there's a lot of stuff to do with fear in that, and like, and in The Dark Knight, it was chaos. So like, the Joker is just this completely evil, you know, no morals, no point to anything that he's doing. He just wants to cause chaos. Two-Face, his entire morality scale is based on chance, like flipping a coin to decide people's fate. So there was this, yeah, and then I guess The Dark Knight Rises is rising. That's the theme. I don't.
Is it?
Redemption. I think redemption and rebuild, like.
Regeneration.
Yeah, like, cause yeah. Anyway, I don't want to go too deep into all this stuff, but anyway, that's why I liked Christopher Nolan and liked The Dark Knight and all that stuff so much. It's just because of I had never seen or heard of anyone like being that I don't know what the right word is.
Serious?
Being that serious, being that particular about
Intentional.
movies, like intentional about what they put in the movies and things like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that sort of like launched me into.
When did you start watching classic movies, though?
Probably when I started watching. Are you suggesting it's you?
I think it was.
You're looking at me like it's you. I wouldn't say that necessarily. Like, there were a lot of movies. I mean, you definitely watch a lot more like old movies like than I do. You like a lot of those more than I do, but you know, it was similar to you. Like, I was watching videos, like YouTube videos of like, you know, these movie deep dives and like videos about directors and videos about themes and movies and ways of shooting movies and all that stuff like that I had just never thought about before. So yeah, and then, you know, of course that helped when you got on board and like we both started watching movies together. So yeah, that was that's about it. So where do we go from here? I mean,
how much time have we done?
I have no idea.
Does it not say?
Almost 20 minutes.
We could do a short one. Do you want to do a short one?
A short one?
No, like this could just be a short one.
Like a short what?
A short episode.
Oh, like after this?
No, like this could be the short
episode.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. No, we don't have to go for an hour. That wasn't the plan.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, so I really wanted to, I guess I just wanted to establish that this episode, I don't really know.
A little bit of a backstory.
I wanted to, never mind. I get lost in thought. Stop finishing it. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to cut all of this.
No, you're not.
I'm going to cut it.
No, you're not.
Okay. I guess I did want to just do this episode just to kind of like lay the foundation. Not that that was even necessary, just to be like, hey, this is why we like movies. So that's pretty much it. I think I established that at the beginning anyway.
Yeah.
So no need to do it again. But anyway, we want to do more episodes regularly. I assume so. But we just need to, we're still trying to figure out exactly like what the structure of this podcast is going to be. What our niche is, and like I don't know, what are we going to focus on specifically? Like, are we going to just talk about movies that we like? I hope not, because that won't be interesting to other people. I would like to do something that's a little more, that draws a little more interest, that people would be interested in, but, we'll see.
All right.
I was thinking about doing, I don't know if you want to do this, I was thinking about doing a look at nihilistic movies.
Sure.
Versus, I don't know what you'd call it, like I've heard it referred to as like transcendent movies, like with the theme of
Terrence
transcendence.
Malick.
No, not specifically Terrence Malick, but we could look at.
I was thinking that's like an aggressively spiritual movies.
Yeah, but I mean, not
Which
necessarily.
is kind of the antithesis of nihilistic things.
Right. But I wanted to look at okay, we don't have to go into this right now. So thank you guys for listening. And why'd you just snap?
I don't know.
Okay. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you'll listen again. I'm probably going to put this up on YouTube as well. But yeah.
Yeah.
Please give us a like and a comment to what you might like to see next, and what you liked about this, what you didn't like about it. Subscribe both on YouTube and on iTunes, and hopefully we'll get some more of these out soon.
Yep.
So thank you guys again.
Thank you.